Real Madrid has formally announced the signing of Trent Alexander-Arnold on a transfer from Liverpool. The Spanish Giants have reportedly paid Liverpool for a fee of more than $11 million to be able to have the English star join them for the Club World Cup. Alexander-Arnold leaves Liverpool after almost 2 decades at the club. Jimmy, if you were Xabi Alonso, how would you use Trent Alexander-Arnold? Wing back in a back three,
it to me,
right
Tom.
back in a back 4, or in the midfield?
So Xabi Alonso obviously had tremendous success at Bayer Leverkusen, playing in a 3-4-2-1, having 2 attacking wing backs. Frimpong would play there a lot. You'd have Grimaldo on the other side. Trent Alexander-Arnold can give you a lot of different options. He can get up and down the sideline, not like Frimpong. They're not like for like there, but he can whip in a good cross from deep, which I think will be very valuable. Maybe they invert him and play closer to a 6, so he can be more of a line-breaking central midfielder. I don't really know how he's going to be utilized, but I find it fascinating that they had to pay Liverpool $10 million to get him to be eligible for the FIFA Club World Cup. He was going to be free on June 30th, but somehow Liverpool wrangled $10 million. That's some good business from a Liverpool perspective. Yeah, Madrid obviously have money to burn, and Xabi Alonso wants all of his players in. So I get why it works. That's just a lot of money. I don't know how he's going to be utilized, but they didn't have any other options. Lucas Vazquez left the club. Danny Carvajal not completely healthy yet after tearing his ACL, so they had to do something, and Liverpool made him pay for it. But it's going to be interesting to see where he sets up shop, because he is probably one of the best passing defenders in the world.
I think it's a great move. I mean, it's a no-brainer for him. If you want to continue to push the envelope and see if you can become even better and fulfill your potential, then you go to Real Madrid. It's the biggest club in the world. So he's getting to play with his good friend Jude Bellingham. I think in this system, you know, he's going to be that right wing back if Xabi Alonso can play with 3 center backs. And I think when you bring in,
do they have 3 healthy center backs?
When you bring Hosen from Bournemouth,
yes,
I think that's a massive signing. Right. And then what does that look like? Is Militao back? Is he able to play? Is you know, can they make another signing at center back? But when you look at the midfield that Xabi Alonso had with Leverkusen, it was Granit Xhaka, who is not anything like what we see from
Trent
Alexander-Arnold, or it was Palacios or Andrich. And so all 3 are more, central midfielders. They are tough, winning aerial duels. They sit. They don't really just venture forward. So for me, I think we're going to see him really touch that, hug the touchline and get up and down and whip balls in.
How do you see it, Mike?
Look, I look at this more at what Real Madrid don't have. And I love that we're talking about passing range and passing quality, because that is what he's going to be, and that is what he's going to give. We're going to see this in a 3-4-3 formation. And so there's been so much made about his inability to defend. I actually think he's gotten better at defending this past season than ever before. He's not the same liability that he once was under Jurgen Klopp. I think that's because of the way that Arne Slot has set him up and set Liverpool up to be less expansive. But for Real Madrid, if you're Kylian Mbappe, Chuck, I'm going to throw this to you, right? You love to run it behind. Pace was a big part of your game. When you think of Barcelona, when you think of being a pacey forward, who are you looking for? Someone who can play balls, almost like someone just with a pitching wedge. Bink, over the top to you. If you're Kylian Mbappe, you scored 40-plus goals, you are salivating at the mouth for a player like Trent Alexander-Arnold, because that is the key to unlocking a team like Barcelona. And this is a player that I think we'll be talking about as a big reason. If Real Madrid are going to change the powers that be in Spain and world football, he's going to be a big reason for that next season.
I'm glad you bring that up, because it provides a different tactical approach, I think, from Real Madrid. If Trent can play those passes consistently and the timing of the runs from Mbappe is good, it's going to force opposing teams to drop off. And when they drop off, that's just going to create space in the middle for a Vinicius and or Jude or anybody that's in that area to then pick up the ball in good area and then run at that back line. They didn't have that dynamic last year. When they lost Toni Kroos, they lost that one consistent player that could switch the point of attack, hit that ball up over, and just gave you a little bit of that unpredictability from a deeper position, and I think Trent can provide that.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny when you see that graphic of the starting 11 and you're looking and you're saying, okay, how is this going to be different from last year? Because, they were missing the Toni Kroos player.
Well, and I just want to add an important note. There are reports out of Spain that Real Madrid could employ a 4-4-2 formation. So, Chuck, I'll let you pick it back up. But also, how would that look? Can you take us through that?
I don't like this 4-4-2 because Jude Bellingham is naturally going to come inside, and that that unbalances the team because Mendy I don't think he is at the level where you want him isolated 1v1 and without really help on that left side. And Vinny Jr. and Mbappe together in the two-striker system, you know they're both going to go to the left, right? So
could you flip-flop, though, and put Bellingham on the other side?
I'm not a big fan of
But Goulet would.
Yeah, look,
I'm not a big fan because either
That's why Xabi Alonso's getting paid the big bucks to figure this out.
Xabi Alonso's side, with Leverkusen, what made them so good is both the left side and the right side stay wide. They kept the width. You need to keep the width in order to stretch teams, so teams can't just sit back, and they were very good in transition. The best thing about Xabi Alonso's Leverkusen side, which is why they went unbeaten in the Bundesliga 2 seasons ago, was because they could adapt. They were so adaptable. They could play high press, they could sit back, they could keep possession, be wide, they could be very direct on the counter, set pieces. So in every facet and every phase of play, they could hurt you, and they were dominant. This Real Madrid side, right now I don't see it with the players that they have.
Well, their biggest issue is
they were handcuffed.
Is pressing, though. Like Vinicius and Mbappe don't press consistently. And we can see with PSG, we can talk about a current game right now. PSG is better without Mbappe. Mbappe scored 44 goals in all competitions for PSG last year. He's gone, and they're better without him. That's because the way that Luis Enrique, the manager of PSG, likes to play is the counter press, trying to win it back right away. And if you have one player that's not doing that, is not connected with everybody else, everything else just starts to fall apart.
My question to you then is, so Mbappe is the fall guy by those standards?
I mean, just in the counter pressing metric.
For Real Madrid, Mbappe the fall guy.
I'm not saying with PSG.
Okay, for PSG,
he doesn't press consistently,
right,
so you have to build a system around him. Right.
So Mike, who's your fall guy for Real Madrid?
Guy.
So for Real Madrid, we talk about fall guys for Real Madrid. I mean, Vinny Jr. Last season, I forgot which game it was, you had a moment where Fede Valverde and Luka Modric wanted to take his head off because he picks and chooses when he wants to defend. And looking at that lineup in the 4-4-2, we know that Real Madrid, the one thing that they're the most decisive club in the transfer windows. They're the most swift-acting club. They already have a manager. They already have a right wing back. They already have a new center back. They're not going to be done getting more players. And the one thing I would change in that, and Xabi Alonso has already come out in his first press conference, Jude Bellingham coming in to center midfield.
Has to be.
That solves a lot of problems because they had no tempo to how they played. They had zero control to matches. And the big reason for that is there's no foundation in the midfield. I felt sorry for Fede Valverde at different times because being the most complete player in world football, there's only so much you can cover. I mean, 3/4 of the world is covered by water. The rest is covered by Fede Valverde.
I thought that was N'Golo Kante.
No, it's not.
N'Golo Kante erasure, everybody.
No, but that brings a lot. We're talking about balance and the need for that. Moving Jude centrally, the big need now is can you get someone on the left? You need to go in the market and get someone on the left.
My fall guy is Carlo Ancelotti, and he got sacked for it. If you have a player like Mbappe, you have Vinicius, you have Rodrigo, you have 3 of the most dynamic players in the world, then you have to create a system that works for the team. You have to meet your players where they are. And you knew what you were getting when he came into the team. You just have to adapt. And I thought Ancelotti didn't do enough to get the most out of that particular group. And I think Xabi Alonso in his style could and should, otherwise he's going to be looking for a new job like Ancelotti. What are your thoughts on this move, and how do you think he's going to do at Madrid?
I think it's a great move for him. I think he's served Liverpool fantastically. I was also delighted, Jimmy, that on the last day he got a proper reception. I think you have to thank Jurgen Klopp a lot for that because he said he was so upset when he saw that he turned the TV off when Trent was being booed. So I'm glad that they've, if you like, kissed and made up because it's important to him, important to his family as well. I agree. I think it was Lahoud I was saying earlier on, since Toni Kroos left Madrid, they haven't got somebody who can play that raking cross-field pass, somebody who can switch the play. That's somewhere he would come in. Because as we know, Jude is not just a fullback. He can step into midfield. He can go down the line. He's got so much to his game. I'll be really interested to see how Xabi Alonso improves him as a player. I think he's the sort of player who likes to learn, wants to listen and wants to improve as well. But what a dream move for him to go to Real Madrid. Unbelievable. And at the start of the new dawn because it's a new coach and there'll be other new players to follow as well. So I think it's fantastic for him and I think Real Madrid are getting a really good player.
Shreevesy, you've gotten to be around Xabi Alonso. I actually saw something on social media where after he retired, I think it was you, Jamie Carragher, and Xabi on a podium having a laugh, talking about football and life. post Liverpool and Real Madrid. Can you give us an insight into Xabi Alonso, the person? Because we've gotten to know the manager, seeing him on the touchline for Bayer Leverkusen, and we'll get to see him for Madrid. But tell us more about the human being and the person.
Lahoud, I would use one word to describe him. I always use the same word to describe him: as a person, as a player, as a coach, as a human being.
Class.
He's a class act. He's an absolutely class act. The way he played the game, he was immaculate. The way he played the game, the way he dresses, the way he conducts himself. I remember Europa League final last year. I was there in Dublin for CBS, and obviously a really disappointing night for them to get beaten 3-0. He came out. He didn't just do all of his interviews because he had to do them. He did them with good grace, spent time with people, explained why they lost, why it hurt, and why they would be back. Honestly, can't speak highly enough of the man. Absolutely class act.